On to vaccines now. This is really a great decision that Pfizer and Moderna have made. Pfizer and Moderna have turned down Donald Trump's invitation to a propaganda vaccine summit scheduled for today at the White House. And I have to tell you, seeing this makes me more confident in these vaccines. Not that I wasn't already confident, but this increases to me as a signal that Pfizer and Moderna, as the manufacturers of the first two coronavirus vaccines expected in the U.S. very soon, they are staying away from political optics when it comes to the vaccine. Trump is doing, by the time you listen to today's show, he may already have done it, a vaccine summit at the White House to take credit for these vaccines. Trump will be there. Pence will be there. There will be other private sector executives there, including people involved sort of in the logistics of the shipping and distribution of these vaccines. It certainly is being interpreted as an event meant to pressure the FDA to quickly approve these vaccines. It's a political event to put political pressure on the FDA. And both Pfizer and Moderna have said, no, thanks, we're not going to go. We know that the FDA Commissioner, Stephen Hahn, has been called to the White House at least 2 times, almost like being called to the principal's office to explain why aren't you approving these vaccines more quickly? So we know that the White House is very anxious to see that happen. So there's a few good things here. First of all, good for Pfizer and Moderna. They are developing a vaccine. They're going through the process for approval. They are opting out of this political charade. And that makes me more confident that they are doing things the right way. Now, CNBC was saying the official reason that they aren't participating is that they have vaccine approval pending before the FDA, so that it would not be ethical or appropriate for Pfizer and Moderna to appear with the FDA at what is a political propaganda event. Moderna put out a statement, very carefully worded, which said, we don't have an ideological objection to being there, but when we learned the agenda of the meeting, we realized our participation isn't required. And that's such a narrowly and carefully worded public relations statement that it really doesn't change the understanding of why they're not going to be there for me. But the bottom line is the optics of the vaccine manufacturer and the regulatory agency that will be deciding about that vaccine's approval being there together at what is a political dog and pony show, it wouldn't be good. So they're making the right decision. Secondly, the optics of attending would fuel the idea that Donald Trump had something to do with these vaccines when in fact he did not. Them not attending Pfizer and Moderna is also good for that reason, although Trump sycophants will think that this is the Trump vaccine anyway. And you know what? I don't care. If it convinces them to get vaccinated, they can think whatever they want. Think if you'll go and get the vaccine because you believe it to be the Trump vaccine, have at it, Haas. We all benefit from you going and getting vaccinated. But now, and this is the really big explosive story, we have learned that Pfizer may have extra reason not to attend, which is that we learned yesterday that over the summer, Pfizer went to the Trump administration and gave them an option to buy and secure more doses of their vaccine. Trump refused. And now Donald Trump is demanding more production from Pfizer, even though he turned down more doses. Let's talk about that next.